Hello and welcome back to CQ, the
Hello.
AWS Certification quiz show, where I'm here with Josh and we're going to take a stab once again at the Developer Associate exam this week. Josh, are you ready for this?
Absolutely not, but we're going to give it a good shot.
Awesome. Josh, tell us our viewers a little bit what you do here at AWS.
Sure. So I'm a software development manager for AWS networking, which is an interesting space to work in. We do build on AWS services, but because we are the first into most data centers and often the last out, many of the services that we offer at AWS are actually built upon the network. So we choose judiciously which services that we build upon.
We haven't had anyone from networking on yet, Josh. You're our first one.
I'm very excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. Tell us a bit about what's going on behind us here.
Right. So in honor of June, which is Pride Month, I thought that we could put the Mardi Gras parade on behind us. And I'm also wearing my Pride 2019 shirt here. Just wanted to celebrate LGBTQ Pride. And I know that Mardi Gras is actually in March, but I figured,
a few months ago.
you know, it's the middle of winter right here, and so you know, we have to do it when it's warm, I think.
Awesome. It's awesome to have you here. You know, looking at the dev exam we haven't done much of this on the show yet.
No?
So there is a little bit of pressure.
Ooh, okay.
On this one.
Ooh, extra.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. I'm ready.
You're going to be fine. So this is Developer Associate we're having to tackle today. Let's jump into question number one. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. CloudFormation.
Okay. Yay.
Good stuff.
You're just going to throw it right in
We're
there.
a networker.
Yes.
All right, here we go, everyone. A CloudFormation stack creates an Amazon S3 bucket. When the stack is deleted, an error occurs because the bucket is not empty. How can the CloudFormation stack be modified to delete the contents of the bucket when the stack is deleted? Over to you,
Okay,
Josh.
so my understanding of CloudFormation is that it's a programmatic way to basically templatize your infrastructure. So if you know that you need various things like an S3 bucket or an EC2 instance, you would use CloudFormation to stand up your stack in a templatized fashion, basically. It fills in kind of the variables for you and makes that a lot less kind of clicky as you're going through trying to build out your infra.
Awesome.
And so the question here is asking about an error related to deletion of an S3 bucket, which S3 won't let you do it if the bucket is full of files, right? And so you have to make sure that your bucket is empty if you're going to delete it using CloudFormation or in general. So the first answer here is that we could add the purge bucket property to the bucket definition. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's a thing.
Well, I've never heard of a purge bucket.
Let's put a pin on that for now, because I'm not sure that's a thing.
Awesome. Good start.
But let's go through the rest of the questions just to see. So the second item is add an Amazon ECS task to the CloudFormation template that will be run during stack deletion.
And ECS is our Elastic Container Service. Yes.
Okay. Yes. And ECS tasks are a thing.
Yes, at least this one is actually a thing.
So this is a thing. However, on the first place, I'm not entirely sure that I can use ECS tasks in my CloudFormation template. And the other thing that has me a little concerned is that I might use my CloudFormation template to stand up my Amazon ECS instances. Like, I'm not sure that I can therefore use it. Like, you might have some cross-reference issues there. So let's put a pin on that one too.
Okay.
It doesn't, I don't think we're quite there yet. And now we're going to talk about adding a custom resource to the CloudFormation template and provide AWS Lambda function. This sounds pretty close.
Good.
So custom resources are something you can use in a CloudFormation template to not only do stuff before you stand down your infra, but actually you can use it for things like if you want to seed your S3 bucket with extra data to start with. A classic example of that would be if you're in a classroom environment and you want to stand up some infra for your class that you're teaching, you could fill that bucket with some files to get started with.
Awesome. So you like the look of this answer?
I do. I think this might be the one, but let's look at number 4.
Okay.
Yeah?
CloudTrail.
So AWS CloudTrail. So I'm going to add an AWS CloudTrail event to trigger an AWS Lambda function when the stack is deleted.
So we know CloudTrail can trigger an event.
Correct. So AWS Lambda can rely on CloudTrail. There's a couple things that has me worried about this answer. I think it might work, but it also might not, which is not really what we wanted.
So not an ideal answer.
Yeah,
I like that. A little tip snuck in there, Josh.
I'm a little worried that we have a race condition here, and or like that the deletion is still going to fail because we've gone a little back to front here.
Well, in the question it says it's not deleting. So that's besides the point of number 4.
Exactly. Right? Actually, that's a really good point. Yeah, the word says when the stack is deleted, and yeah, the answer is post that. So I guess we'd be listening for the thing that already failed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So we can get rid of that one too.
Okay.
So you liked number 3.
Number 3
resources.
sounds like it's the closest to what we're after. It also sounds pretty simple, and I'm fairly confident that it would actually work.
Simplicity. I like that.
Yeah.
On the poll, Josh, 100% agreeing with you.
Thank you, audience.
Number 3. I think it's a good start. Let's reveal this answer. Of course, it's number 3. Off to a flying start.
You really threw me through
breathe.
a loop. I was like, oh, CloudFormation, like, I'm not an expert.
You did it.
I did it. Okay.
Ready for question number 2?
Yes.
You can breathe now. You're relaxed. You're
All
into
right.
it. All right. Oh, moving on to Lambda. Perfect.
All right.
All right,
good,
Josh. Here we go. What functionality? Let's try that again. What functionality is provided by AWS Lambda layers? Great one.
Okay. So I actually do know a bit about AWS Lambda layers. But let's read through the question before I go blurting off, and it's completely irrelevant to what the possible answers are. So number 1 says layers enable chaining between Lambda functions at multiple functional levels. I would be looking more towards step functions.
Yep. Yep.
If I'm trying to chain Lambda functions, I don't think that's the one. Number 2 is layers.
Our audience is like a number 2. Please remember, everyone, type in the number of the answer that you think it is, and that will update our poll.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So number 2 says layers keep deployment packages small by pulling in additional code and content. That seems like it could be a good candidate, but let's keep going. Layers enforce security by defining public front ends and private back ends. Okay, I think this is a bit off the mark here. I don't think that layers have anything to do with security. So if you're thinking that you're going to get better security by using layers, that's probably not the way to go. Number 4 says layers enable the reuse of Lambda containers for future code execution. Ooh, this is interesting, because when I think of Lambda layers, I think reuse. I think like I've got some sort of
the word, got it.
I've got like a data file that I want to share across my applications, or maybe I have a set of functions that I want to be consistent across all of my lambdas, and I don't want to have to deal with like an external repo, which manages my dependencies for me. I can keep it simple, put it in an S3 bucket, reference it from the Lambda layer. Sorry, reference the layer from the Lambda function. So I'm thinking it's number 2. We keep our deployment packages fairly small by pulling in additional code and content, which is then reused by those lambdas. I'm going to lock in number 2, I think.
100% again on our poll today, Josh.
Thank you, audience.
We're looking
Giving me confidence here.
Yeah, that's it. Let's reveal the answer for question number 2. It is answer number 2. Flying start. Too easy. Let's have a look.
I am actually starting to feel a little bit better now.
Yeah?
This is good. Yeah.
You can breathe?
I can breathe.
Awesome. Let's do it. Question number 3, moving on to storage.
Okay.
Here we are. This looks right up your alley, Josh. Let's do it. Your application is deployed across multiple Amazon EC2 instances. You wish to implement a counter variable that can be accessed and updated by all running instances in real time.
Okay.
How can this be implemented with minimal effort?
Love it. Oh yes. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna yes. This
You're
is
excited?
this is such a classic computer science problem. I can't think of a job that I've had where you don't have to deal with race conditions like this. So what we're talking about here is we want to have an atomic counter, which could represent things like, I don't know if you remember like the GeoCities days when people always had like their little like page visits counter GIF thing at the bottom. That would be a really, user kind of facing reason to do that. But like a more classic computer science example of why we might want to have a counter is perhaps every 1,000 writes to a database, we want to trigger an aggregation method, which goes in aggregates those rows and writes to another database. Or I might actually have a task management system that I'm custom writing and I need to keep track of how many threads are running at any given time. The danger. So
this is something happening in your team?
All
the time?
We do a lot of this kind of stuff in networking. Networks by their nature are associative graphs, basically, and so when network devices are all talking to each other in real time, synchronizing activities across those devices is a big problem. And so, yes, I really love that this question goes into minimal effort, because my experience has always been that the more you try to shove around the problem, the worse it gets. And let's get through like some of the options they've offered us and
you
see.
might have, without knowing it, given away the answer with a certain word you used earlier, but I will leave you to delve into the answers.
All right, so rant over. I really thank you for letting me speak my piece on this, but let's see what the question says. So number one is we could launch an RDS database and add a counter table, use an update statement to increment the variable. Oh, this is like so me circa year 2000. I think this is like everybody's first like kind of attempt at this, because it's like using things they know. And then let's see, number two is launch an Elasticache cluster and add a counter variable. Use the increment operator to increment the variable. This again,
both of them are going to work.
I can't honestly say that I haven't done both of these in my career. So like, full disclosure, like these are both possible options, but I'm still not seeing the kind of stuff I want to see yet. So let's keep going, because cache is not designed for primary data storage. That's one of the reasons I'm not all about this one, even though again, as you say, it probably would work for a while. And then number three is mount a shared EFS file system and track the value in a file. Ooh, oh dear. Again. So here's the thing. So far, all of these technically kind of would work for at least a while. My concern is that as your application becomes more popular or you generate a larger user base, you stop thinking about requests per minute, you start thinking about requests per second, you start thinking about thousands of requests per second. You're starting to get into the realm of computer speed. And when we're talking about computers, a lot of times we think of them as instantaneous machines and everything's happening instantly, because in our space it seems very instant, but computers do live in the real world. They are guarded by the bounds of time and space, and when you start moving at those thousands of transactions per second, you start running into race conditions, which is where you could have multiple servers from around the internet talking to the same host to increment or to read that counter, and those kind of transactions can get out of order if you don't have a properly architected system. And that's where a lot of these solutions start to fall over.
Okay, let's jump back into these solutions.
So number four, which I'm fingers crossed hoping is the one, is use an atomic counter on a DynamoDB table. So
it's the word. They gave it away earlier.
Yes, I did. And that is the word that you're looking for whenever you're trying to read and write data to the same place. Like you always want to be thinking about, do I need atomicity, I think is the correct word.
I told you you'd like this question.
I do.
As soon as I saw it.
I love it. No, this is such a classic kind of computer science problem.
We did have a couple of people, or maybe one person go with number two actually, but you're locking in number four.
I'm locking in number
four. After all of that.
I think all of these would work, but four is the simplest and the least effort, which is what the question's asking for.
Very good point. Let's do it. Locking in number four.
Let's do it.
It is indeed number four. Thanks for that. That was awesome. We need more questions like this.
Well, it's very tricky because, you never really know. Some of these are actually possible.
But you did the right thing. You pulled out the keywords from the question, right?
Okay.
And that's what a lot of these are. In this instance, they're not saying there's only one solution that's going to work. It's the one with the least amount of effort that we were looking for.
Yeah.
So that does make it tricky. Thank you, Josh.
Yes.
Let's jump into question number four. S3.
Wow, we're blowing through these questions.
We are.
Okay, so for this...
How about I read the question to you first?
Yes.
Does that sound good?
Oh my gosh. Cart before the horse.
Everyone keeps breaking the rules on my show recently, Josh.
Well, I saw the last episode and I would have,
No.
Oh,
this is all about
we do not
you.
Speak of
you
it?
are our highlight now.
All right.
Josh, you are creating a website that sells software online. After a customer pays for a product, they should be able to download the software. How can this be done in a highly scaled, secure manner? Awesome question.
Very excellent question. So
I think so too.
there are a few things that I want to, let's look at the question first before we jump into the answers, because you've told me that's what I should be doing. So I'm creating a website that sells software online. They've paid for it. I verified the transaction. And at this point, my customer wants the product that they've paid for. And the question specifically says we want to do this in a highly scaled, secure manner. So
scalability and security.
yeah, so I'm gonna assume that this is a customer with an established user base, which is fairly large since we have a highly scaled keyword in here. And this is not open source software, for example. This is software that they want users to pay for and is not given away freely. So
awesome.
What we're trying to do here is produce a download for our customer that ensures that the customer who bought the software is the one who's doing the downloading, but maybe I'm not so concerned about like they can only download once or other problems like that. Let's not overcomplicate it, so
okay.
to say.
Let's have a look at the answers.
So let's look at the answers. Number one says, let's generate an Amazon S3 pre-signed URL with an expiry time.
Awesome. Let's move on.
Let's check the others, but no, but like that was kind of what
That's
I had
what we
in mind.
want, right?
And that is a thing that you can do. So
but as per all exam questions,
we'll put a pin in it and keep going.
Answers.
That's right. So number two says provide a link to API gateway which can verify the URL and return the software from S3 as a download. So
not
you
very
could,
scalable.
But yeah, again, I want to go into highly scaled. So S3 is like custom built from the ground up to deal with scalability issues when we're talking about large file transfers. And I'm assuming if you're selling software, it's probably not a trivial, animated GIF or something like that. It's probably a significant payload. And so I would want to rely on the scalability that S3 provides out of the box.
Exactly. And this isn't going to S3 directly.
Let's not insert unnecessary complications into the process, right?
Number three
is to use autoscaling and elastic load balancer with a secure web server retrieving and streaming the files from Amazon S3. Again, technically this would probably solve the problem, but you're over-architecting, I think.
Yeah,
at this
you
point.
would have to scale it yourself.
Yeah,
right?
there's a lot of management that you would have to do, and it just doesn't seem terribly frugal to me. And you're kind of setting yourself up for a lot of ongoing cost is the concern I would have with that. And it's just unnecessary at this point, given we have number one on the table. So number four is to provide a unique hard-to-guess URL on Amazon S3. Ooh, okay, so this takes me back to my university days, and I had a professor who would harp on constantly about security by obscurity and how it is not secure. And so a unique hard-to-guess URL on S3 is absolutely not the right answer in this case. We take security very seriously
absolutely
across the company, and this would just This is a non-starter.
At the end of the day, they could give it to their friend, they could give it to their family.
Yeah, everybody has a free copy of the software because even though it's hard to guess, you've given it to them, right?
Hard to guess doesn't mean they haven't guessed. It kind of suggests they're going to, right? So, yep. Let's get rid of that one.
All
Locking
right.
in number one.
I'm locking in number one. I think a pre-signed URL with an expiry time is perfect. Yeah.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Of course, it's number one. Thank you 100%. Online, getting that easy one. Made it too easy, apparently. So let's try serverless.
Okay.
Yeah? Jumping all over the place here.
Oh, yeah.
This is what we like to do here on CQ.
I am enjoying it. It's
Are
like,
you?
It's
oh,
like
good.
It's hitting all the different parts of my brain that
good
I don't
exercise
always
for
get
the
to.
morning
Yes.
before you're straight back into...
Yes, the thick of it. Yes, back into the basement, right?
Let's have a look, Josh. Your application is generating time-sensitive objects in an Amazon S3 bucket. These objects must be deleted 30 minutes after creation.
Okay.
How can this operation be automated?
All right, so I'm zooming in on must be deleted 30 minutes because I think that's going to be.
I did try and emphasize that for you as well.
I noticed, yes, and it worked because yeah, like there are quite a few ways that you could potentially approach this, and I'm guessing that the key here is going to be the one that is most reliable in terms of the timing and how sure I am that it's actually going to work at the specified time. So let's look them through. So we could schedule an AWS Lambda function to run every 30 minutes. This is probably a lot of folks' first kind of stab at solving this problem. The problem with that is that if you are timing it just wrong and you put the file in at, like, let's say 59 or a minute past the hour, and your last run was on the hour and on the 30 minutes, then you could set yourself up for a situation where the file is going to be there for almost a whole hour, basically 59 minutes. And so, like, doesn't seem about, I mean, it'll delete the file, but it's not the right one, I think.
Not 30 minutes after creation in all instances. Yep.
It's not fulfilling the must of this this exercise, I think. So the next option is to use Amazon CloudWatch events to trigger a step function when the object is created. Okay, I think we're getting closer here. I think that this actually could be the one. So step functions are a thing. We can trigger them off of CloudWatch events, and
step function allows you to wait, right? So that looks like a good option.
Yeah. So yeah, like, you create the file, the CloudWatch will pick up the creation, you'll trigger the step function, schedule a 30-minute delay, and execute the delete. Seems like it could work, but let's check the rest. So we are configuring our Amazon S3 object lifecycle with a 30-minute expiration policy. I think this might be a little bit tricky. So
I think so too.
I don't think Amazon S3 object lifecycle is looking at that granular of a time.
He's got it.
So I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what the minimum period is, but I believe it would be in days.
Daily,
yeah. Okay. And further to that, I think also, although when whatever expiration you set on the object occurs, like, you will stop being charged, I don't think we guarantee that, like, the moment 1 day passes, we will purge the file. So if the must, again, I'm worried about the must here.
Yep.
Not only
you can't choose.
Not only for the fact that it's a day,
time.
but assuming that it was, must be deleted exactly 24 hours, I still wouldn't love this.
70% of the polls gone with number 3 though, Josh.
Ooh.
Interesting.
Oh, no, now I'm feeling nervous.
Let's look at number 4. Let's forget about that.
Okay. Okay, add an expires metadata tag to objects when they're created. So, this is, okay, here's what I think this is, and I could once again be wrong, but I'm pretty sure what this is actually talking about is, like, metadata tags, which are used in the headers of the file. And so you would use this more for cache invalidation. I don't actually think S3 is looking at that to decide whether or not to delete the file. The other thing I would worry about
this is for your web browser, nothing to do with S3. You're absolutely right.
The other thing I would worry about this as well is that it's not a relative time. You would actually provide a timestamp, and therefore you're putting yourself in the position of having to do your calculations. That seems like a lot of extra effort. Why bother? So I don't like 4. I actually think 2 is the most fit for purpose based on that must be deleted 30 minutes after creation sort of clause.
The audience has gone against us on this one. I think we got it.
Yeah?
Shall we have a quick look?
Yes.
The answer is number 2.
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Have we got time for another one? Yeah, I reckon we can fit in one more question. You happy to do that with us, Josh?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Question number 6, streaming data. Okay, Josh, you are creating a system that receives location information from thousands of rideshare vehicles and lets customers view the location of their approaching ride on a map. What system can you use to capture this streaming data for processing?
Okay, so in light of our previous questions, again, I'm going to look at the question text and think of some key things that I want to look at here. Because, like, again, there's probably several potential options, and we're looking for the best one, right?
Let's do it.
So we're looking for a system, we're dealing with location information that's streaming in from an external source.
Yep.
We are looking at thousands, so we're not talking, dribs and drabs, we're talking like a torrent of information coming in.
Yep.
And the other one that I'm looking at is we're going to capture this streaming data for processing.
Capture and process,
so
yep. Perfect.
already I've got something in mind. Let's see if it's in here. I'm thinking maybe Kinesis, but
Okay.
I don't know.
It sounds good to me. Let's check the answers.
Let's see what's in here. So number 1 says persist the data into a storage table using DynamoDB streams. Ooh. Okay, so this is fun. You could persist the data into DynamoDB, but streams kind of hang off the end of that. So like you're kind of getting the cart before the horse in my mind. Like you can set up DynamoDB to stream data into something else when you write to DynamoDB, but I don't think you can use it to persist. There's no way to put stuff into a stream. It comes out of DynamoDB, right? So
like that.
number
Okay.
2.
A couple of people are gone for number 2, Josh.
Amazon
see one
AppStream
person.
2.0 to store the data in Amazon S3. Okay, so I do know what Amazon AppStream is. I've never used it personally, but my understanding of Amazon AppStream, and I think the question, I have a sneaking suspicion that all of these are going to involve the word stream, aren't they? Very tricky. So
Very typical way to write a question as well.
it makes a lot of sense. Like you're gonna glom onto that. Maybe you don't know what AppStream is, and in the case of AppStream, I believe
It sounds so good.
it does. It sounds totally. I mean, I've got an
Believable.
app and I want to stream stuff.
Tell us about AppStream.
So AppStream is used to stream your application to your customer without them needing to permanently initiate a download to take up space on their hard drives or anything like that. You can actually real-time stream, desktop applications to them, or I think also mobile, and they don't actually have to download the product. So this is great for things like demos, or if you want to give someone a trial period where they want to use the software, but they're not quite ready to commit. But that doesn't quite sound like what we're after here. We're trying to persist data coming in from location. Thousands of location data kind of coming into our system.
What about number 3?
So number 3, direct data into an Amazon Kinesis stream. All right, so this seems like a good option.
Most people are going for this one.
Kinesis is basically perfect for this, because one of the things that I also notice now that we're looking at Kinesis is the wording of the question says capture. It doesn't say like persist and process. And when I think of Kinesis, like Kinesis is a place for you to stage your streaming data because you want to do some some initial pre-processing on the information before you're ready to process it or to put it into the disk or put it onto your database. So there might be a few reasons for that. Maybe you want to decorate that information. Maybe there's some kind of preliminary aggregation you want to do because the data is far too bulky to bother storing all of it. Kinesis is perfect for that.
Awesome.
So this sounds like it might be our good option.
So capture was indeed a very important one.
Ah, okay, nice. So I think
But let's check on
number 4 is process the data in an AWS Elemental Media Live real-time stream. Oof, that's a mouthful.
Quick shout out to Mechanism online. I noticed John was a bit slow to that one, so thank you. Continue, number 4.
Sure. So number 4. So again, I think this is using the word stream, and it does indeed have to do with streaming.
Very tricky, Producer John, on these answers.
But I'm not sure this is the right option for location data. And the reason for that is that I believe this product is much more oriented towards encoding of video streams for broadcast, for example. So I'm really pretty certain that we're going with number 3. It perfectly it was created for this. Yeah, it stands on its own.
I hope it's the answer. Let's lock it in. It is indeed number 3. Josh, thank you so much for being with me this week. It's really cool to delve back into our dev exam. So thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
We will see you, not next week. We've got a week off, but back the following week for episode 10 of season 2 of CQ. Thank you.
Bye.